Could there be 8 teams in the AFC playoffs rather than 7? Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me, your host, Britsburgh Owen, also accompanied by Shadow Shazier, the dog. He's here as well. I've just seen him flick into screen there. If you've just found the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, please hit that sub and ring that notification bell, guys, for all your latest Steelers news, views, and updates. This is a fan-driven, channel-driven, hosted by myself over here in the UK and by Mark Davison over in Australia. Guys, we have over 50 years of Steelers supporting between the two of us, and we love our black and gold heroes. So please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. Guys, here's the question. Obviously, we are all praying for and thinking about Damar Hamlin after what happened to him the other day in the Bills-Bengals game. Now, obviously, from that game, there are a number of implications for the AFC and the AFC playoff picture, because it now appears very likely that the Bills and the Bengals will not replay that game, because mainly there is no good way to fit it into the schedule now. One possible way that was discussed was the fact that the NFC wildcard round would take place, and at the same time, the Bills would play the Bengals, the AFC wildcard round taking place a week later. Now, the obvious issue with this is this could well wipe out the week between the conference championships and the NFL Super Bowl, which obviously is not a great thing because the NFL likes obviously that week for the build-up, the conferences, everything else that goes on around it. And it's also a money-making opportunity. We know that. So that's obviously out. That's what it seems that most NFL insiders are saying, that will not happen. So they're trying to find what they've termed as the best bad solution. And a number of media outlets in the States, NBC, CBS, Sports Illustrated, have all come up with the same solution that the NFL appear to be considering. Now, the solution that they appear to be considering is the fact that the AFC playoffs could go to 8 teams from 7 just for this season. So the question becomes, obviously, with the situation where the Bills and the Bengals don't play, is how would seeding work? Now, obviously, the Bills and the Bengals have played 1 game less. So winning percentage has been suggested as the most obvious method for deciding the seeding. But there become concerns around equity for that, given the winner of the Bills and Bengals game would have likely been in one of the top positions to get the AFC top seed, which is currently held by the Kansas City Chiefs. So they've said, therefore, for fairness, they may add an 8th team to the AFC playoffs. This would eliminate the bye for the number 1 seed, because obviously it's felt that because the Bills and the Bengals can't play, it's taking away their opportunity to catch up with Kansas City and take the number 1 seed away. This would ensure a competitive balance. There would have to be 8 teams. To ensure a competitive balance, they're saying that there would also have to be 8 teams in the NFC too to make it equal just for this year. Now, the NFL Players Association would have to agree for this temporary expansion of the playoff field if it was to take place this year. Now, apparently, there are discussions ongoing with the NFL Players Association and the teams involved around this solution for 8 teams to be placed into the playoffs. Now, another thing that has been discussed as well to go with this 8 teams in the AFC and 8 teams in the NFC is the fact that they're having discussions around making the AFC Championship a neutral venue game, because no team would really be the number 1 seed. Now, it's felt obviously Kansas City may well be against this, given the fact that they hold the number 1 seed. So this appears to be the solution. Now, I know what you're all asking is, how does this affect the Pittsburgh Steelers? Now, obviously, at this moment in time, the Steelers sit 9th in the playoff seeding. They are out of 2 places out of the 7th place, which currently would qualify them for the playoffs. And to qualify for the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to win on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns and hope the Bills beat the Patriots and the Jets beat the Dolphins. However, if this 8th seed was brought into place, the Steelers could sneak into the playoffs as the 8th seed if they win against the Browns, and if one of the other results doesn't go their way, they could well find themselves in 8th place and take that 8th seed in the AFC. So this is the possibility of a solution. Some people have dismissed this. Some people have said that 7 is already too many teams and that 8 would be far too many teams. Personally, I think that 8 teams is the sensible number for it. You could have 4 games straight away in the first week of the playoffs. That would then leave you 4 teams who could then compete in like a semi-finals before going through to an AFC final. I would honestly think that 8 teams is probably the most sensible number for a playoff picture. Well, that's my opinion. I'm not just saying that because the Pittsburgh Steelers are involved. I'm saying that because it goes in line with what happens in a lot of British sports, like soccer, rugby union, rugby league, and a number of sports like that in our country follow that same plan for their playoffs, particularly rugby league in this country. So this is definitely a possible solution. Now, it's only suggested as for this year, given the fact that obviously that Bills-Bengals game cannot realistically take place because there is nowhere to fit it in. Realistically as well, asking the Bills and the Bengals to play that extra game, maybe midweek before them playing in a wild card game as well, would also perhaps over increase the strain on their players and give whoever faces them in that other week a competitive advantage, given the fact that the Bills or Bengals players will be fatigued, they may have more injuries, and this could obviously well benefit the Steelers, as the Steelers could well face one of the Bills or Bengals if they were able to get into the playoffs. However, it's a very interesting solution and something the NFL is going to have to come up with over the next few days. Anyway, Steeler Nation, let me know what you think of this 8th possible seed in the AFC playoffs. Drop me a comment below. And like I said, me and Mark love to hear your comments. We love to interact with you in the comments. So please drop us a comment. Thanks for watching the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I've been your host, Britsburgh, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you guys. Obviously, more news, views, and videos coming up on the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate as we build up to the final week of the regular season with the Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. Here we go, Steelers. Come on.